The tension in the studio could be felt like static in the air, invisible but prickling at every nerve. The cameras were rolling, the lights blazing, and the audience was hanging on every word till Harrison Ford leaned forward in his chair, narrowed his eyes at Joy Behar, and said in a low, steady voice, "That's not the point. Joy, you're missing the heart of the matter. It had started innocently enough." Harrison was there to promote his latest film-drama about resilience, forgiveness, and the cost of speaking your truth. Joy, known for her quick wit and sharper tongue, opened the conversation with her trademark humor, poking fun at Harrison's gruff demeanor. The audience laughed. Harrison even cracked a smile. But the mood shifted when Joy pivoted to politics. She brought up a scene in the movie that touched on moral courage, pressing Harrison to take a real-world stance on a polarizing issue. At first, he answered calmly, speaking about unity and the need for understanding. But Joy pushed harder, cutting him off mid-sentence, turning the conversation into a verbal tug-of-war. Harrison's jaw tightened, his voice deepened. The man, who had faced down cinematic villains without flinching, was now visibly agitated. "You're twisting it into something divisive," Harrison said, leaning forward. "The story's about people finding common ground, not tearing each other apart." Joy smirked, but it wasn't the playful one from the show's lighter moments, to a sharper, defensive. "Harrison, with all due respect, people can't just find common ground when the stakes are this high." That was the breaking point. Harrison's hand gripped the armrest, his knuckles white. "I've spent 40 years telling stories that bring people together," he said, his voice shaking not from fear, but from conviction. "If we can't even talk without turning it into a fight, then we're lost." The audience gasped as he stood up. No dramatic pause, no clever exit line, just the sound of his boots on the studio floor, the thud of the door as he walked out, and the stunned silence that followed. Backstage, Harrison paced, his mind a storm. He hadn't come to make headlines. He'd come to share something deeply personal, a message about hope and healing he believed the world needed. Yet here was another controversial moment about to be clipped, tweeted, and dissected by strangers. Later that night, sitting alone in his hotel room, Harrison replayed the scene in his mind. The frustration was still there, but so was a deep sadness. He thought about the movie's central character, a man who learned to listen more than he spoke. Harrison realized that, in the heat of defending his point, he'd stopped listening to the next morning. He did something unexpected. Before the story could spiral out of control, he called Joy personally. Not a publicist, not a statement, just his voice. "We both care about the same thing," he said. "We just see it differently. I shouldn't have walked out like that." Joy, surprised but moved, admitted her part too. "I pushed too hard," she said. "Maybe I wasn't really listening either." By the end of the conversation, they agreed to meet again, not on live TV, but over coffee. No cameras, no audience, just two people willing to find that common ground he had fought for. When the story eventually hit the headlines, it wasn't just about a Hollywood legend storming off the View. It became a reminder that even when tempers flare and egos clash, it's possible to step back, reach out, and try again. And maybe that was Harrison's real legacy, not the blockbusters, not the fame, but the courage to walk away when the conversation breaks down. And the humility, too. Come back when it matters.